cut has officially begun. We got legs on the agenda today. Cut officially started this week, down to 3,200 calories a day, going into a slight deficit, and we're about 20 weeks out from the show in September. So let's get after it.
Starting off this leg day with some lovely Smith machine squats. Now you can't see it, but I am using a 25-pound plate under my heels. That way ankle mobility and lack thereof is not a limiting factor for how deep I can get in the squat while keeping a relatively upright torso. Goal here, trying to bias quads, getting as full knee bend and knee flexion as possible. You can see the hamstrings kind of squishing on the calves. I did a couple sets of 6 to 8 reps here, building up to 3 plates for the top set, obviously using 1 plate, then 2 plate, and I think 275 was my set before this. Building into this here, keeping nice tempo, definitely going to go up in weight for next week as well. But these felt really good. Overall, solid movement to begin this wonderful, wonderful leg day on a beautiful Friday.
First movement for the legs, obviously we are biasing quads and glutes. Now up next, we are focusing more on hamstrings as well as some glutes here with some Smith machine RDLs. Convenient because I was also already at the Smith machine. I didn't have to wait for anybody to be done with it. Again, 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps here, built up to a top set. Smith machine I do like because of the stability, but at the same time the bar path is a little bit to get used to versus a traditional barbell. And of course, I almost always, especially on my top sets, use wrist wraps here. As you can see, I set up in the beginning. That way grip does not become a limiting factor, and I can truly control the weight, squeeze at the top, and control it on the way down. Really emphasizing the hip hinge here, sticking the butt out back. Now, this is an exercise I have not done in a while. Cable pull-throughs. Excellent for hamstrings and glutes. As you can see, it almost mimics an RDL here with the profile, where it's a hip hinge, again, letting the weight pull you back towards the stack, then squeezing up on the way through. Main qualm with these is it kind of scrapes on the inside of your thighs, but after doing heavy weighted free weight exercises, this is a great one. This can also be just used as a great warm-up exercise, as you can really get full stretch and squeeze of the hamstrings and the glutes on this one. From there, we moved into a couple seated exercises, seated hip abduction, training the glutes. Supersetting that with hip adduction, adduction, training the adductors. As you can see here, same machine, similar setup. This felt pretty good, just trying to build some extra size on the inside, outside of the thighs. And although I warmed up earlier with some leg curls and leg extensions, finally we moved to these for our actual working sets. So I supersetted leg curls and leg extensions as best I was able to because there were some people on the machines. Starting here with some leg curls, goal of 10 to 12 reps or so here. And as you can see, I lean forward during these as I'm trying to get a full stretch of the hamstrings. Obviously the hamstrings attach all the way up at the hip, so adding that extra hip flexion gets them at the full lengthened position, especially when the feet are all the way out straight in front of me, like so. But the difference here, the main thing is when you're leaning forward, you want to lean forward rather than just round forward. It should be mainly coming from the hip rather than just the upper trunk. And one of my favorite ways to finish this off here is a mechanical drop set. So then I lean backwards so my hamstrings are stronger in this position and try and squeeze out a few more reps. Then, as I said, supersetted this with leg extensions. Opposite here, you want to sit as far back as you can, limiting that hip flexion so the quads are on full stretch, namely the rectus femoris, as it also acts as a hip flexor. Again, 10 to 12 reps here, really emphasizing the tempo on the eccentric, squeezing and pausing for a second on the top, and slowly on the way back down. Of course, had to check out the pump after this. Feeling pretty good here. Legs have definitely shown a lot of improvement during this bulk, as that was definitely primary focus.
Stopped to grab some gas on the way home. So today is April 5th, day of filming this. Officially just about 5 months out from when I want to do this bodybuilding show, and I just want to talk at you guys for a little bit. So why am I doing this show? This series is pretty much going to be a road to show prep series, and most of all, I've been lifting now for just about 8 years. Love the gym, I love showing up, I love putting in work. And I think with the show, it's kind of an opportunity for me to push myself. I think lately I've been finding that I've been getting very comfortable in my routine, comfortable showing up, you know, still pushing myself day in and day out, comfortable with the meals. But I know going into a cut, regardless, but let alone this severe and deep of a cut, to truly get as lean as physically possible, it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be comfortable. I'm excited about it. I'm nervous for it. And I think I've just been very comfortable in the routine that I've set. You know, even just seeing the calories bump down to 3,200, that's still relatively high. It's like 1,300 less than what I was eating on the peak bulk. And I think it's gonna be a good challenge for myself to push myself. And also I just wanna inspire others. But above all else, as both an online coach and a physical therapist, I hate just talking the talk, you know, giving instruction, telling others what to do, yet not acting the same actions myself. And I think this is a great opportunity for me to walk the walk. I think even just an example the other day, there were some cookies in the office and I was excited to grab some, grabbed a few more for the road. And I think this is gonna be a great opportunity for me to be able to discipline my mind again and really challenge myself and push my limits in a sense. And I think there's something to be said about having a goal, having a specific end date in time, and something that's gonna hold you accountable.
And then we got some training clips here from Upper Body Day on Saturday. Started with some Smith machine shoulder press. As you can see, I like it on a slight incline, just a more comfortable position for the shoulders. Again, 6 to 8 reps here for a couple sets, trying to take it towards failure, especially on the last set. We move from this into the same thing using the Smith machine again, this time doing some barbell bench over rows. Again, strapping up here just to make sure that the forearms and grip strength are not the limiting factor, and I can still row some heavy weight under control. But really like this. Again, bar path different than a traditional barbell. Then we moved on to an incline hammer strength press. As you can see here, I use 2 little clips underneath just to begin with, because if I don't, the bar starts, or the handle start in a really far back position, which in order to press out some heavy weight is kind of uncomfortable for my shoulders. So I use those here. 8 to 10 reps here, trying to take it all the way to failure, squeeze out some partials. Then we moved on to some pec deck flies. 10-ish reps or so here, trying to reach failure by then, and then squeezing out some partials at the end. Really trying to emphasize, trying to bring the crease of my elbow, or the bicep inserts on the elbow, towards the middle, squeezing the chest like so, rather than just trying to get the hands to meet. This will really make you feel it a lot more in the chest, rather than just going through the motions. Also hit a couple sets of arms after that, but of course, we had to get to the locker room, check out the pump here. So we're about 23 weeks out from show, feeling relatively lean, still sitting around 236 to 240 body weight in the morning, and feeling really good. I'm excited to dial the calories in, dial everything in a little bit more, and really push for these next 23 weeks to see what I can bring to show. Still haven't decided exactly if I'm going to do men's physique, classic physique, which category I'll be competing in, or what the goal weight really is. So just practicing a couple random poses here, working on the flexing, especially after a pumped workout. Did some cupping the other week, as my back and shoulder has also been kind of sore, especially that left shoulder.
Just got back from Costco. Let's look at the haul. It's always got to be one trip, even if it's like 50 pounds. All right. So this week I'm going to make some pulled pork for meal prep. We got some burger buns. We got some onions. Obviously, you got the milk as always for the protein shakes, bananas for the shakes, a little crunch for the sliders. Got some fruits, strawberries, blueberries for this week, sauce for the sliders, some veggies, the pork, 15 pounds of it. That's box number 1. And then we got our apples and our yogurt. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. This is a week's worth of food right here. 110 bucks for me. I've got my breakfast, my lunches and dinners, my shakes, and I've got some snacks laying around the house, but obviously fruit, strawberries, blueberries, apples, bananas, those are my main snacks. Set yourself up for success by buying everything that you want to eat during the week, because if you buy stuff and the moment it looks good, you're hungry, ultimately in your moment of weakness, that's what you're going to choose is the snack food, versus if you set yourself up for success, buying the good whole foods, prepping meals, you're not going to fail. All right, for this week's meal prep, we're making some pulled pork. Got 15 pounds of pork shoulder butt here. My slow cooker, got some onions, barbecue sauce. I got to look at more of a recipe. Got banana bread in the oven for this week's snack. But pulled pork sliders, we'll do some sweet potato fries with the bean, meal prep for the week. All right, we've got our pork here. Got a nice little spice rub that we're going to rub it down with. And then basically let it sit in the slow cooker for up to 8 hours. And coat this as evenly as possible. First time I've ever made this, so hopefully it turns out all right. Basically all this is a bunch of brown sugar, some garlic, some cumin, some paprika, something for a little flavor in there. Some broth. Henry, it's okay. Set this on water and let it sit for 8 hours. I'm also going to dice up an onion and toss that in there as well. Pork is set, let it sit for 8 hours. I think as I go throughout this prep, using the slow cooker is going to be huge for me. I should have been using it a lot earlier than I started using it. Typically, I would cook meals in pans, even like an air fryer, just smaller things that take up a lot of time and energy. This took, maybe 10, 15 minutes to put together in their prep, and I'm just going to let it sit for 8 hours. In 8 hours, I'm going to have to divide it all up into my meals, and I'll catch you guys again. Pork, before it's done. Here it stands now. Alright, well, I'm keeping in theme with the preparation. I've also been preparing protein shakes ahead of time. This wasn't something I could really do when I was bulking, just because there was simply too much stuff, but I'm making 3 at a time. So they're prepped and ready to go for the week. So in each shake I'll do a cup of milk, scoop of creatine, scoop of protein, 2 bananas, and like a serving of peanut butter. Currently, I'm very much on a chocolate protein powder kick, as always. For adjusted wage, 40% off my protein. 2 bananas in each. They're not the ripest. I just bought them yesterday, but. Butter, some good fats, and for taste. Come here, buddy. got shakes prepped and ready for the next 3 days. Don't even have to think about it. And the banana bread also just finished. Perfect time. So we'll sit and let that cool a little bit. But in a nutshell, that is what I will eat for the week. Shake daily, slice of banana bread as a snack, and the pulled pork every day. So the pulled pork is almost done. I may have filled it a little too full, so some of it is still cooking. But the rest of it that was mostly done, I took out, put to this pot here, added some barbecue sauce. Now it's time to eat. 9:30, that pork has literally been cooking all day. But it is finally done and ready to be meal prepped. So I've got this E-Tech City Smart Scale here to weigh it out, which it shows it on the scale, but also populates on the app here. So 420 calories from the pork, 40 grams of protein, 28 grams of fat. And we'll also add in, for each slider meal, I'm gonna do 2 buns, 2 hamburger buns, and then we'll add some vegetables as well. That's 1 meal set. We got like 11 to go. All right, here is our lovely meal prep. We've got 5 containers of meal prep with burger buns for sliders. We've got 4 of them just with some pork and veggies. Then we got a couple just pork, but I will add some sweet potato fries to when I eat dinners at night. But besides that, the pork is prepped, cooked, and ready to go. Thank you all for tuning in. I will catch you in the next one next week.